Hello, I am your host, Knight, and today we will be going over is conflict inevitable in less than 5 minutes. First of all, what is conflict? Well, Oxford's Languages describes a conflict as a serious disagreement or argument, typically protracted over a long period of time, for a while. So, in short, a conflict is a fight between two or more parties that may or may not last over extended periods of time, like a war. Now, I'm no expert, but I believe that conflict is inevitable. If you have two different opinions, then there will undoubtedly be conflict of some sort between the two or more parties. We start with the Carnatic Wars. Setting the scene in India, there were these ports owned by these two little colonies. You may or may not heard of them, made a few things here and there. They were the French and the British. These wars stemmed from, once again, Britain and France acting like the siblings they are. The princes of India tried to stop the fighting on several occasions, but failed to extinguish the sibling rivalry going on between these two. This proceeded to happen twice more, not only because the princes don't understand how to deal with sharing, but also because the big guys upstairs and up west don't know what getting along is. These were inevitable though, because both France and Britain are bullheaded as all get out, and the territorial disputes of a newly disbanded group of small kingdoms are basically just a fact of life at this point. My next example is a lot more modern and still considered controversial in most standards, but World War II is a big conflict I'm sure we all know, at least by name. There was this German guy, right? Funny stash and haircut. Yeah, I didn't like these people who worship Judaism all that much, so in his effort to remove them and reclaim the honor for Germany that was lost in World War I, he tried to conquer all of Europe because he wanted a big family reunion and gather all the newly spread out Germans from World War I, and to stabilize Germany economically, socially, and militarily, hitting like 7 birds with one stone. Well, the US of A, France, and Britain were like, guess we have to work together for once, and with their combined force along with the likes of the Soviet Union and China of all groups, albeit very begrudgingly, managed to knock them back in the end. But when it came to conflict, there wasn't only one German, heck, not even only one party that was upset about the outcome of the First World War. Called the Great War at that point, so I feel this was kind of bound to happen with Germany struggling and everything, but it's still up for debate. Not everyone will just magically agree on a concept like the inevitability of conflict, like people do with whether pineapple should be on pizza. Oh lord, what have I done? The Great Emu War of 1932 was a conflict between the insane insect-ridden Aussies and a flightless bird described by Major Meredith himself to be so good at tanking bullets that, and I quote, if we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. Yes, actually. This all started during the Great Depression when stock markets crashed, imports were heavily taxed, and exports weren't bought anymore. When this happened, Australia lost their main source of income, that being exports, and things only got worse. People left for the cities after the wages tanked and the remaining were tending farms. However, the emus thought these farms were really tasty looking and kept gobbling up all the wheat they grew. The government, not knowing what to do, sent the military. After 3 fierce battles, the soldiers wasted more ammunition than feathers on an emu. Pause. I don't actually know how many feathers are on an emu, but according to the scopeproject.org, a website ran by students for students, which covers different topics, over the course of 6 days, they wasted 2,500 rounds of ammunition. And only killed like 30. A surrender, a second wind, and a fourth and final battle, wasting roughly 10,000 rounds on 1,000 emus of the 20,000 they planned to kill, and they lost. Yes, they lost. Now, this war was objectively very, very dumb, and it's probably very preventable if they just increased defensive measures of their farms instead of sending the Australian military at a bunch of half-baked ostriches. But here's the kicker. It still happened anyways. Ultimately, I believe that conflict is pretty much always inevitable if there are two or more opinions and parties over a long enough period of time.